I mean, I was told by my film professor, there are films and there are movies, and sometimes you've got to know what you're walking into.
Yeah. See, but I come from a time when movies were films.
It's been a very rough week. I'm not exactly going to go into what made it a rough week. If you know, and if you're living in America, then you know that last week was a little bit rough, and now this is not a political show. We've never been a political show, except when we kind of need to be. But that's why I want to stay. We are fairly neutral on everything. But if you're living in America, last week, Wednesday, specifically on Wednesday and also Thursday and throughout even till today, if you turn on the television, doesn't matter what channel, you'll know what's going on. Or if you're on any kind of social media platform, then you'll know what's going on. It's all that anyone's been talking about. And I'm not going to be diving into the specifics or my stance on everything. I feel like everyone's been giving a lot of that these past couple days here. It's a lot of just jarring and very emotional violence that's been going on in the media and in the world that for me, I honestly wasn't too sure what I was going to talk about here today at all. It was just a weird weekend for me. I was trying to capture and try to think of what exactly would make sense for an episode and if even I should be recording an episode. And obviously I decided to record something. But I thought about how there's a lot of violence in the world. There's a lot of tragedy, not only in America, I mean, all around the world and in different kind of countries. There's been a lot of violence and war and different kind of struggles. That I've been thinking about how we're all growing up in this age that has this kind of weird sense to me that I've been kind of thinking about it more this weekend, especially that we're all living life for the first time. You know, it doesn't matter if you are 60 years old or 5 years old or 30 years old. We're all living life for the very first time. Doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been alive. We're all living life for the first time, which really kind of made me think about just how right now this is someone's childhood. And really for all of us, this is all of our lives that we're living in this world of madness and tragedy and chaos. This is all of our lives for the first time, and we're all coming of age in this lifetime of 2025. So therefore, I thought there was really no better thing to talk about than coming of age films, you know, because they really don't have any kind of discrimination. I mean, yeah, sure, most of the good coming of age films are about teenagers, but still there's plenty of coming of age films about different kind of age groups, even if it's old ladies or if it's adult men or if it's kids or people in their 20s. There's still plenty of different avenues for the coming of age genre, which makes me love it and makes it just such a worldwide loved genre of films that makes everyone really like it because there's no type of discrimination for them. And it doesn't matter regardless of religion or race or skin color or where you were born. We're all born on Earth and we're all going through this different kind of rites of passage avenues and benchmarks of life that coming of age films really do hit the head with a massive, massive hammer. And I asked AI exactly what is a coming of age film. And AI obviously told me a pretty solid answer, I'd say. This is that a coming of age film is a movie that centers on a young protagonist. Like I said, young or older doesn't really matter that much, but still a younger protagonist's journey through childhood to adulthood, often marked as experiences like loss of innocence, self-discovery, the navigation of complex emotions, and the adaptation of personal responsibility. These stories feature key themes such as identity, independence, and navigation from familial and romantic relationships within a realistic setting to depict the transformative and challenging nature of adolescence. Let's give a massive round of applause to AI for being our unpaid employee, doing more than any of my actual employees at the Court of Cinema podcast. Sorry, guys, to call you guys out. But still, it's a massive and great genre. So today, I wanted to just quickly give out some of my personal favorites here. I have about 15-ish that I'll go through pretty quickly here of my personal favorite coming-of-age films and films that have really impacted me emotionally throughout my entire life. Even though I'm only 21 years old, they've had a massive impact on me. And before I do go into those 15 films, I do have some honorable mentions here. Films that, I mean, honestly, they're not even like in my notes at all, but just I was thinking to myself, why isn't that film here? For 3 different ones that I have here today. And this list was definitely very hard to make. I mean, there's so many incredible coming-of-age films that there was bound to be some snubs. I knew that going in. So I had to quickly make a 15 list and lock it in. No more changing or adjusting. That's it. The list is locked. But still, there's some solid films here that I wanted to give some quick love to that should be here but aren't for some reason. Number one is Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret? I love that movie a lot. I make the claim all the time that is, I think, personally, one of, if not the best religious film ever made. I love that film, from the performances to the directing, the score, all of it. It's great. Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret? 2023, in very fast and worthy honorable mention. Number two is The Fabelmans. Steven Spielberg is my top 5 director of all time, and he made his own biopic, and I somehow forgot it here on the list. That's a great movie, great coming-of-age film. It's really, really, really good. And the last one that maybe should be here but isn't here is Spider-Verse. I mean, you know, it's a great film, great animated movie. There maybe should have been some kind of Spider-Verse mention here, but it's not. But still, those are my honorable picks out of the way. Let's start going into this list here. Quick little thing here. We're going to be going in the alphabetical order. So if you're wondering, why is this film here before this? That is why. So that's all I'm going to say. But going to the first film here is Almost Famous. That came out in 2000, directed by Cameron Crowe. I watched this film for the first time this month, and it's already one of my favorites of all time. I absolutely love the soundtrack, the music already, well, that's sure it's soundtrack as well, but the music, the characters, everything is great with this movie. I saw so much hype around it. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to like it, but still, it's just so cool. It's so everything that I really need out of a movie. And there's a film about a kid who is following a band around, writing an article about them. That's the entire film, and it's superb. It's incredible. I want to watch it again already, but it's on Paramount. If you want to watch it, I definitely recommend it. The next one on the list here is another one that is, again, in alphabetical order. One that I've given a lot of praise to is The Amazing Spider-Man 2012. This is one of my favorite films of all time. And also, it's a coming-of-age film for me that I really look to this film a lot of the time for guidance and motivation and just remembering why I started. Some reason lies in this movie. And I think all the Spider-Man films, they don't have the exact same theme, but they're all similar in their own way. I was also going to put in here, but once again, had to change the last minute, was Spider-Man Homecoming. That film I really leaned on for a lot of my middle school years, and it's a great one also. Not the best, though. I think that TASM one is better than this by a long shot, and still, it's incredible. I love Andrew Garfield's performances here, and just the themes about him losing his parents and still trying to find his way through the world and be something greater than what his struggles set him down to be is everything, and I really do love it. TASM 1, 2012, it's a clear top 5, I think, for my favorite films of all time, and I love it. Then for the third film here for our coming-of-age list here is Batman Begins. I'm actually this month going through all of the Batman Begins or the Batman films from Nolan, and this one is so good. And maybe some recency bias here, but still, I think this is definitely one of the better Batman films. I think it's the only live-action one that also goes into his origin. You know, Batman, I talked about him earlier in like July or something for the BVS episode. But Batman, he's one of my favorites because he's a guy who went through a very hard and traumatic moment in his life, a life-defining traumatic moment. And despite all of that, he chose to be something better, be something greater. That's why I love Batman. He has no powers. He has no flight or super speed. He only has his will to be good and be this incredible force for justice. That's why I love Batman. And in this movie, seeing him come of age from a child through the trauma all the way to adulthood to be Batman is everything to me. It's why I love the character, and I love this film, Batman Begins. Nolan's the GOAT, and also Christian Bale might be the GOAT also. Next up here is one of our more recent films that released is actually The Boy and the Heron 2023 from Hayao Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli film here. This movie, I think, is still one of my favorite, if not like top 3 from the Studio Ghibli studio. They're awesome, but this movie, for me, it's still so high up there. maybe it's because I watched it in IMAX and a lot of people didn't do that, but still, I feel like a lot of people also have so much hate for this movie, but for me, it spoke to me so intimately. The animation is incredible, the score is awesome, the characters are all there as well. I mean, really, it deserved the Oscar and also deserves more praise of being an incredible coming-of-age film about this little boy going through this very hard time, losing his mother. Also, this coming-of-age thing also in this movie about Hayao Miyazaki potentially being his last movie ever. I know there's some rumors about this movie not being his last one, but still, hearing him or seeing him in this movie and also kind of feeling his voice in here, it's so heavy on the themes of things having this weird sense of finite, and things always coming to an end. No matter how famous you are, you're going to die eventually. Your legacy will be left on to someone else. And that weird theme, it's a very, very heavy movie. It's all light in here also. The Boy and the Heron, it's a 4.5 for me. It could go to a 5 out of 5 if I watch it again. And for the standards for being a great coming-of-age film, it hits every single mark. The next two here are some pretty fun ones. This one is actually a classic. I can lump all three from this entire trilogy, but The Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, came out in 2011. This movie really does mean a lot to me. I mean, at least for my development, for coming of age through elementary school to now being 21 years old, this film had a massive, massive impact on me. And still, to this day, it hits very hard. I mean, from the cast to the characters, the music, it's all great. I mean, really, Roderick Rules, it's on that top pedestal for, just the most impactful films of our lifetime. It's very high up there. Then another one that's very more recent for our next pick is actually going to be 2024's Dee Dee. I saw this film at home streaming, but still, this movie had a massive impact on me. Dee Dee 2024, it feels like that one A24 movie mid-90s, with the skateboarding and all the vintage stuff. But still, it's like mid-90s, but, kind of more for kids in that sense. I mean, I guess mid-90s also for kids, but still, Dee Dee is, I guess, more of a kind of safer, family-friendly pick. And it's, I think, for me, an instant classic. I don't know why this film doesn't get more love in the world, but still, Dee Dee is a masterful film, mainly for the coming-of-age stuff, but still, overall, this movie is very, very, very good. If I had to make a list just going through my, top 10 most underrated films of the decade so far, this one might be close to number one, if not, top 5. Then next up on this list, I do have Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I mean, it's the classic. It's I feel like the classic, the coming-of-age film, it might be Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That famous quote of, life moves pretty fast. If you don't look around once in a while, you're going to miss it. It comes from this movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's an instant classic. It's just an incredible movie. And still, to this day, it has a lot of, great themes in there, great filmmaking. It's a great, great movie from the golden age of film, in my opinion. Next up here is a movie that I haven't seen in a very long time, it feels. But Frances Ha, Noah Baumbach, 2012. Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach is just an incredible combination here for, filmmaking duo. They work together for a lot of different films. They're actually married, having kids together as well. Kind of a power couple for filmmaking. I did an episode for this movie back in 2023, early days of the podcast. This movie, it still slaps for me. My love for it still burns very bright. It just talks about how, in your late 20s, you're not quite sure what you're going to do or where you're going with life. And still, that's okay. It's okay to not have it all figured out and maybe lose your best friend and not be married super early by 25. It does really hit all of the notes of just being lost in your young adult years and trying to find your path, even though it can be hard to spot sometimes. The directing from Noah is superb, and the acting from Greta Gerwig is also very, very good. Also, you have the likes of Adam Driver here as well as some other incredible actors. Also shot in it was shot in digital and color, then converted to black and white. Sorry, I had to just film nerd on you for a second. But still, Frances Ha, it's a 4.5 out of 5 for me. It's a member of the Criterion Collection for a reason, and I truly can never get enough of this movie. Actually, I might watch it tonight for all I know. All right, so about halfway through the list here, we're about halfway done here with the episode. And for my next pick here, still alphabetical order, is going to be It, which came out in 2017, that horror film. I talked about it last year, how this movie has this weird sense of nostalgia for me about friendship and coming of age in a time just filled with so much guilt and trauma with these kids in the movie, and still finding a way to come together with friendship is so cheesy and corny, and it's so whack, but still, this movie speaks to me. It really does hit me home for some reason, and I can never find enough love for the movie. I really do have this weird, deep passion for it, for all the wrong reasons, not for the horror, the gore, but for the feels. It really hits home for me. I mean, the score is awesome. Noah Baumbach, no, it wasn't Noah Baumbach. I'm so sorry. It wasn't Noah Baumbach. It was Andy Muschietti who directed the movie, and he's awesome with the directing also. But for the coming of age stuff, it's a very weird sleeper pick for me. I really do enjoy it. Now, It Chapter 2 is awful, but It Chapter 1 is very, very good. But still pushing here, because we got a very short amount of time here for today, is actually going to be Lady Bird. Doesn't star Greta Gerwig, but this is actually Greta Gerwig's retro debut. Well, it wasn't her debut, but still, it was her big film that really got her on the map here, that led her into Little Women, led her into Barbie. This movie, it's great. You know, I haven't seen one in a very long time, but still, Saoirse Ronan is Saoirse Ronan. That's really enough for that one. That's a very quick little segment there. She's awesome, but the directing from Greta Gerwig, the themes and the feelings are all there. It hits home in every single aspect, and it's a classic already for me, I think. It's definitely a classic in a lot of people, and for me as well, definitely a classic, and definitely a very, very good coming-of-age film. Actually, I haven't watched it in a pretty long time, I'd say, but still, Lady Bird, I really, really do enjoy it. But for the next pick is actually another A24 film we do have here. At one point, I'd say this film was my favorite of all time, is Moonlight, 2016, Barry Jenkins. This movie is just incredible. You know, from the cinematography, they shot on those anamorphic lenses, it looks awesome, to the incredible, incredible colors and color grading looks absolutely insane. From the performances, from everyone, the performances are an easy 10 out of 10, even from our Blade Mahershala Ali. That should be in a Blade movie by now, but still, Marvel, lock in. Quick rant there, I'm sorry. But still, Mahershala Ali is incredible for that quick, 20 minutes of screen time, if even, for this movie. He's awesome. I mean, Moonlight is such an interesting and very different movie. I think for me, it was, what kind of sparked the episode and what kind of spoke to me in terms of we're living in a time that's so different and so violent and so much going on that we can still find ourselves in our environment, even if it's just so stark contrast from who we really are. That's what Moonlight kind of feels like to me, so it really spoke to me in that sense for why it should really be here, and the acting and everything is an easy 5 out of 5. Alright, so we have 4 more to go here. We're on the last 4 here. Once again, alphabetical order, this is not ranked in any kind of way, but for the next pick, it is going to be Perks of Being a Wallflower. Logan Lerman in this movie, we share the same name, that's super cool, but still, Logan Lerman gives a generational performance here in the movie. Also, Ezra Miller, before he turns to a supervillain, he's great too. Emma Watson, I almost said Emma Stone, I got it right. Emma Watson is great, she's awesome here as well. This movie is extremely sad, and I love I wouldn't call it mental illness, but just the movie about being depressed and finding yourself and still trying to find your happiness and your true meaning and purpose and all that in this movie. It's super cool. It's so sad as well, but it's one that really also hits hard, hits like a freight train the first time you watch it, but still, I really, really do enjoy it. It's a classic for sure, and one that I always revisit at least once a year. The next one is another film that I think at one point, another film where I'd say it might be my favorite of all time, is Sing Street, 2016. John Carney directed a masterpiece. It's not even a 5 for me yet. If I watch it again tonight, it will be a 5 out of 5. But Sing Street, it's everything. You know, boy meets girl, girls unimpressed, boy starts a band. You know, we've seen this film thousands of times where a kid starts a band to impress a girl, and, you know, whatever. It's a, cheesy kids movie about the band and stuff. It's whatever. It's nothing. But still, this movie, for some reason, still hits hard. I think for me as well, about just growing up, it's another one cliche film trope for sure. The film trope where you're growing up in a town you hate, the town's so boring and dull, there's no creativity in your town, so you gotta move away to some big city. Once again, the trope has been done hundreds of times, but still, it's so effective and so good in this movie for Sing Street. Also, the soundtrack, once again, it's a band movie. Sure, it's a band musical kind of thing. The music in Sing Street is better than most modern artists by how much the soundtrack slaps in this film. And the coming of age stuff, like I said before, about you're living in an environment that's so dull, so creatively bankrupt, so nothing, so average that it makes you angry and wants to leave to go to California is terrible, but still you want to go to California or some big city. That's what Sing Street is like to me, and I love this movie a whole bunch. I think if you were to watch any film from this list first, it might have to be Sing Street, but still, there's a couple more films on this list that are just, I think, way too solid to go ignored. And there are also two more is the last two films here, and they're both A24 films. I swear I'm not sponsored, but there's just so much of them in this list. It's kind of scary. But still, the next one, 2013, this is actually one of Roger Ebert's last reviewed films ever that he ever reviewed before he passed away, sadly. It is The Spectacular Now. It's with Miles Teller, Shailene Woodley. It's a very different movie. It's not different. It's actually kind of cliche, I'd say. And, one that is, it doesn't have a lot of hyper buzz for some right reasons here as well. But still, the romance aspect, his high school senior year, he really doesn't know what to do with his life. Once again, a trope that's been done so many times, about he has a drunk dad that his dad doesn't really know him that well, done thousands more times. But still, this movie finds a way to do it in a very unique way for me. And I think, at least for me in high school and me in my 21st year living on Earth, and also for other people who are a lot older, it's very common to feel lost and not sure where you are or where your career is. The idea of having to go into a career, and that's your thing forever, for the rest of the time until you die. It can be a very big decision that a lot of people may never make in life. And The Spectacular Now definitely goes into the concepts of, family trauma, and goes into a lot of different great themes. The romance as well in the movie is also very good too. Overall, The Spectacular Now is a very solid, underrated gem for me. And now, granted, of course, I only gave it a 3.5 out of 5, so, take what you may. But still, The Spectacular Now is one of my personal favorites, I think, ever for the A24 subgenre, or it's a studio, but still, the A24 space, it's still a very underrated pick. And for our very last movie, the very last pick that I had to throw in here is actually going to be another A24 film. Once again, I swear I'm not sponsored, but still, I might have to get a commission check for how much I'm mentioning them here. It's actually maybe their best movie, Waves. It's Waves 2019. Trey Edward Schultz here, Kelvin Harris Jr., Taylor Russell, Sterling K. Brown, Lucas Hedges. This movie is different. It's once again kind of the same of the family drama kind of movie, but still the way this movie, it also is kind of the same thing of how we all are living the same life, or we're living on the same stage, it's better to say. We're all living on the same stage in the same world, in the same kind of environment, with the same kind of madness and chaos and traumatic events happening, yet we all have a choice to go forward in life in our own way, in whatever way we decide to, whether it's a way that's evil or a way that's good. We're all given the same exact origin story, to a degree, to a sense that we're all living in the same world, yet we all have the chance to be whatever we want to be, whether it goes us, going to prison or us doing something great with our lives. We all have a choice to do something and be great or be awful. Whatever we choose to be, that's what we're going to be. And I feel like Waves does hit all of those notes very well. So I had to throw it in here for a good coming of age film. It's a sad one. It's very tragic. It's it's a lot to watch, but still, I love it. I recommend it all day long. Also, Taylor Russell, I love her, so I had to give her a shot at here too. But that's really our entire list done for the day. I'll go through it again just extremely quick here if you happen to forget something. I know I forget things all the time, but still, Almost Famous, TASM 1, Batman Begins, The Boy and the Heron, Roderick Rules, Dee Dee, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Francis Ha, It Chapter 1, Lady Bird, Moonlight, Perks of Being a Wallflower, Sing Street, The Spectacular Now, and also Waves are our 15, in my opinion, greatest of all time. Once again, this list can be changed a lot. I mean, one is Roderick Rules is one of the films on this list. The entire trilogy of Dark Movie Kid is very, very good. I could have thrown any of them in here, but I decided not to. Roderick Rules is just the best, in my opinion, and still, the rest of the list, there's countless other incredible films in the coming-of-age genre. So I want to hear, what's your favorite coming-of-age film? Is it one of these here, or is it something else? Let me know. We have a little fan mail thing down below. You can, send us some fan mail and let me know what's your personal favorite here on this list and your personal favorite coming-of-age film ever made. But without the way, we are done for the episode for today. And I do want to just say thank you for one, listening to this episode. If you made this far, I'm a little bit surprised. But two, thank you for listening to the show. It's been a very hectic and crazy past year, I think, that we've been going on with the show, and our audience here, you guys make this entire show possible. Lights on and the fridge is full. It's all because of you, and I really, really thank you for that. We have a lot going on these next few months to close the year. The year's almost done, but we still have a lot more things to go through. Like, for example, we do have fall coming up here. September is, slowly coming to a close here, and October will be starting very, very soon. Then going into November, the whole shebang. And I do want to announce that for our very next series, we will be going through all of the Twilight films. We're going to be fast-tracking those episodes. So starting next week, we're going to be going into the very first Twilight film and then going into all those subsequent films as the weeks go on. They will be getting re-released in theaters in October, and I am very excited to be fast-tracking these episodes to come to you very, very soon. And now you may be asking to me, Logan, where are you planning to watch these films? That's a very good question. I have no idea. I really am very rash and last minute for things, so we'll find out very, very soon. I don't know where I'm going to watch them, but I'll watch them somewhere. And also maybe saying, Logan, the last series you've done, you've hated almost all of them. Well, that's partly true. I mean, Superman series was actually kind of good, I'd say. The Superman series was pretty fun and quick. Also, How to Train Your Dragon series was also pretty good as well, but still, the Fantastic Four series, terrible. I mean, that was a 0 out of 10. I gained nothing from that series. And the X-Men series, the Mutant series, awful as well. I don't think I gained much of anything with that series either, except for like Logan and a few others were kind of decent. But still, overall, that X-Men series was not good at all. But still, I have hope for Twilight. And also, we need more of the female audience as well, so we got to work on that with this series coming up very, very soon. But in addition to Twilight, we have a lot of other big things coming out very, very soon. Like, we have, I already said before, but the Twilight re-release coming out very soon here as well. We also have the next PTA film coming out next week. It's a very huge milestone for us for the year. And also, our last thing that I think is going to be really big here will actually be Peacemaker. Peacemaker has been super huge, so when Peacemaker's over, I'm going to be going through how that sets up the future of the DCU and many other things. But that's a lot of me yapping for a while, so if you haven't already, get caught up on Twilight. It's coming out next week, and until then, stay swagged out, stay cool, watch more films, watch your favorite coming-of-age film, and until next time, I'm your Logan. I'll see you boys in the movies.